brothers and sisters, and welcome to another edition of BFR Ministry, Bible Facts Revealed. We are an extension of Absolute Bible Truth, where Brother Joshua and Brother Big Baby are the teachers there, along with assistant pastors, Brother Antoine, Brother LeVar, Brother Jeff, and Brother Kevin. And we would like to invite you to join us on Blog Talk Radio for the Absolute Bible Truth Sabbath class every Saturday at between 5 and 5:30 Eastern Standard Time with our teacher, Brother Joshua, who will be giving us a blessed and edified class. That's every Sabbath day, that's Saturday, between 5 and 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us and you will be receiving an edified class from our teacher, Brother Joshua. I'm Brother David, your teacher for today, and reading for me as usual is Sister Teresa.
Good evening.
And we are Absolute Bible Truth Chicago. And our motto here is, if they can't prove it, don't you believe it. And the title of our class today is Immediately After the Tribulation of Those Days. What days? Once again, the title of our class today is Immediately After the Tribulation of Those Days. What days? And I thought it was high time that we did this class and touch on this topic, because it's a very, very strenuous topic in that everybody has their take on what is this and what is that when it pertains to certain things in the book. For instance, most people literally think that Jesus Christ came in the flesh in 70 AD, okay? And I don't have any written evidence that took place, but they'll look at their favorite place in the book, which is Matthew 24, and they try to substantiate that belief by attaching Matthew 24 with that belief that Christ actually came in the clouds, okay, in 70 AD. But here's the problem. There are no eyewitnesses to this, okay? And they also say that also was about Titus and the Roman army that came and sacked Jerusalem in 70 AD. But then they'll tell you it's a future event. It can't be both, sisters and brothers, because Titus is dead. So something is wrong with that analogy. And I'm not going to spend too much time showing you things that are wrong with this concept or this belief that Matthew 24 is future, because it's been completely fulfilled. So what we want to do is just get right to this and encourage you to do something very specific, which should get you to re-examine what you've been taught about this topic, okay? And it's ask a series of questions, and I'm going to share these questions with Teresa here so she'll know where I'm going here. And the first question you ask, okay, with this and about this, and they talk about saying Matthew 24 is future, you go there and you read that. And this is the first question I want you to think about, and you ask the people that want you to believe that it's future. Who is Jesus talking to in Matthew 24? Who is he talking to? Secondly, when and where specifically did this conversation take place? Okay? The third question is, he prophesied the destruction of what temple and which people? You have to ask yourself that. Was he talking about us today? Okay. Fourth thing, who did he warn about this temple? He said not one stone will be left unturned on that temple. So who did he warn that it would be destroyed? Did he warn us? You say it's future. Is there a temple over there now? But you say it's future, or people teach you that it's future. In any case, the next question is, what was their location? What was this going to take place at? Again, what was all this going to happen? Okay, in this context, also ask yourself, what is the abomination of desolation in the context of, say, Matthew 24? Ask yourself that question. And we're going to answer all these questions. The next question is, were the Hebrew people taken into captivity by one man or an army of men? Because most people tell the little horn is this, the little horn is that, or the Pope is this, Pope is that. Were the Israelites in 70 AD taken in captivity by one man or an army? That's something you need to ask yourself. Then the last question, why would his disciples ask him about a future destruction of Jerusalem that would not affect them? What sense would that make? You saying that they're talking to Jesus and he's telling them about something that's going to happen in our time or beyond us, actually, because it hasn't happened yet. And this is 2017. So we're talking about beyond us. Why would they ask him about something that's yet to happen? And it wouldn't even benefit them to even know, because it wouldn't affect them at all. That doesn't make any sense. So then you remember there are other prophets that ask about things that were beyond them, and the Lord told them to, shut it down, like Daniel.
Don't concern you.
Don't concern you. Close the book, man. This ain't got nothing to do with you. So why wouldn't he have told his disciples? That's who he was talking to, his disciples. Wouldn't he have told them that too? If they asked him something about something that's going to happen beyond us? Because this is what the teaching is with respect to St. Matthew 24. So ask these basic questions, and you should get to the bottom of whether St. Matthew 24 is future or has it passed? In other words, been fulfilled. And I mean all of it. So we're going to look into this, and you be the judge, okay? We're not going to call anybody out by name, but you know who. If somebody has taught you this, you know who it is. I don't have to call them out. But just look at what we're going to submit to you today, and do your own research. Dig a little bit deeper than what people tell you. Don't be so quick to grab hold to what they tell you. You have to prove things. That's what the Bible said, prove all things. And people don't believe that that's something that's necessary when it comes to teaching people. So what we're going to do, and because in Matthew 24 it talks about Great Tribulation, as if people think that tribulation only occurred, it's only going to occur in the future, beyond us. It's never happened at all. Great Tribulation. What was the flood, brothers and sisters? You don't think that was Great Tribulation? Everything destroyed, all life destroyed, but 8 souls and animals that were on the ark. That's not Great Tribulation. You need to pay attention to what you're reading. And I can show you and name you many more incidents where Great Tribulation came upon a lot of nations. And it came from the Lord. They don't understand that. And he also had reasons why he sent tribulation upon certain nations, even Israel, your own people, if you claim to be a Hebrew Israelite. So let's get into this. The first thing we want to do, let's go to the Strong's Bible Concordance, 2347 in the Greek section, and we're going to define the word translated tribulation. And you have that definition in front of you. What's the word?
The word is thlipsis.
And what does it mean?
From 2346, to suffer.
To what?
To suffer.
Okay, tribulation means to suffer. Go ahead.
Pressure, literally or figuratively. Afflicted, affliction.
Affliction. Go ahead.
Anguish, burden, persecution, tribulation, trouble.
And trouble. These are going to be days of trouble. Some people in the book will describe it as dark days. Okay, troublous times upon a specific people or nation. So now that we understand what tribulation means with respect to it being in the context that is written in Matthew 24, we can proceed. Let's go directly to St. Matthew 24. Some people say St. Matthew. I say Matthew. It doesn't matter. We know where we're going. Matthew 24, verse 29. We're going to read 2 verses, 29 and 30. And there was coming on Jerusalem. This is what it's telling you. Its temple and Israel. All of this suffering, anguish, affliction, persecution, and trouble. Does that sound like future to you? Because again, you have to ask yourself these questions. Who was Jesus talking to? Was he talking to us? Why are you looking for this trouble, anguish, and affliction?
And right now, I'm sorry, but right now, we don't really technically, according to the book, know who Israel is. So it's saying that these things were going to happen to Israel. how could it be now or in the future?
This is true. And people will take offense to that, but you have to prove things. And we have a pretty good idea who Israel is. You know, it's more likely that they are black people. That's just the truth.
Yeah,
But you have to prove things.
Yes.
And nobody can trace their ancestry all the way back to the land. That's just a fact. It ain't knocking nobody or nothing, because I believe that I'm Israel, spiritual Israel. So that's what we believe here. In any case, let's continue this, because Matthew 24, 29, and 30 is telling you, when Jesus started this in verse 1, that all of this anguish and tribulation is coming upon Jerusalem, the temple, because he started out, but not one stone was going to be left on that temple, not thrown down. So they were going to destroy the temple. Whoever he sent was going to destroy the temple, and the people were going to be full of anguish and affliction, persecution, and trouble. Dark days was going to come upon them. Was he talking about us or beyond us? Ask yourself that question, because if he's not, then this is already taking place. If you said this was 70 AD, what has this got to do with you? Nothing. Anyway, let's read. Start at 29, and we're going to read 29 to 30. Go ahead.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days.
What days? The age of the disciples, brothers and sisters. Go ahead.
Shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven.
And we're going to break that down. We're going to show you what that means. That means something as well. It doesn't mean literally in this particular context right here, when you read out of Matthew 24, it has nothing to do with it literally happening. We're going to show you what this means. It's in the book, and we're going to show it to you. Go ahead, but continue.
And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken.
And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Let's, right quick, let's go to the Strong's 1411 in the Greek and define this powers of the heavens so we can understand what this is talking about.
The word is dunamis.
And what does it mean?
From 1410 force, literally or figuratively, specifically miraculous power.
Miraculous power, what's that? It's going to tell you, go ahead.
Usually by implication, a miracle itself.
So miracles were going to be able to be seen by all those at this particular time. They could look up and things were going to be happening, even on the ground and so forth. You're going to see miraculous signs and things happening, and it was going to indicate that this destruction was coming upon Jerusalem, the temple, and the people that lived there, which were Israel. Go ahead.
Ability, abundance, meaning, mighty, mightily, mighty, might, deed, workers of miracles.
Yeah, that word is again, go ahead.
Miracles, power, strength, violence, mightily. Wonderful work of the heavens.
Of the what?
Of the heavens.
So this is letting you know you're going to see these miraculous things appearing in the heavens as well. Okay, now continue back at Matthew 24 and continue where you left off in that 29th verse.
Well, 30.
And go to 30 then and read the 30th verse.
And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven.
Wait a minute. Did it say then shall appear Jesus Christ in heaven, brothers and sisters?
It said the sign.
It says sign. It didn't say he was going to literally appear. It says sign. That's something totally different. But you look at this and you let people let you read this and they tell you something and you reading something totally different. It says sign, not Jesus Christ. Go ahead. I'll tell you what we do. Let's define this word sign. Okay, let's go back to the Strong's right quick. And we're going to define the word sign. It's 4592 in the Greek, and the word translated sign. What's the word?
Semeion.
And it means?
Neutral of a presumed derivative of the base of 4591.
Go ahead.
an indication or supernatural miracle.
There's that word again, miracle, supernatural. You're going to see supernatural things. This is what these signs are, supernatural things happening that will basically let you know the destruction is upon you. It's coming. So you better do what he told you to do. He said flee, did he?
Mm-hmm.
Then ain't that what it says in St. Matthew 24? He said flee to the mountains, not the wilderness, people. You're not paying attention to what you're reading. The mountains, well, go ahead.
Miracle, sign, token, wonder.
Wonder. You're going to wonder at these miraculous things you're seeing. And it's going to be hard to believe. You're going to be really taken by what you're looking at it because they're going to be miracles. Okay, let's go back to St. Matthew 24 and finish that 30th verse.
Okay, I'm going to start back at the top.
Okay.
And then shall appear the sign,
not Jesus, go ahead,
of the Son of Man in heaven.
And these miraculous things was going to let you know that this is what Jesus talked about, and it's letting you know that this is what he referenced when you see these miraculous things and these miracles happening. That's not Jesus, but this is what Jesus said that was going to occur. And you get it. Go ahead.
And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn.
What tribes? Who's he talking to in the temple? Israel. The tribes of Israel are going to mourn because this is who this destruction, this affliction, and this punishment and suffering is coming upon because of their wickedness, brothers and sisters. It's not talking about a time beyond us. Israel ain't going into captivity no more. This can't be future. Matthew cannot be future. No way, if you understand what you read and take it in its context. But we're going to continue this. Go ahead. Did you finish that? Okay, go ahead.
And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven.
What represents the Son of Man? These miraculous signs, supernatural events, things happening in the air, in the clouds, and things going to be on the ground as well. We're going to show you this. Go ahead.
With power and great glory.
Because whoever he's sending to punish or destroy Jerusalem, Israel, and the temple, they're going to be coming, what? With power and great glory to do his bidding. That's what happens when the Lord sent a nation on another nation to bring them down or to punish them. They come with power and great glory, and they do what he wants them to do. Take you down, take you out. Okay? And there's no written record anywhere, brothers and sisters. If you profess to believe some of this stuff that's been taught, that this was Jesus, he came in the clouds, there's no written record of Jesus literally coming down from heaven, descending down from heaven and destroying Jerusalem in 70 AD, the temple and its people. There's no written record of that anywhere. So it could not have happened. This is just something for you to think about, toss around in your mind. Now what we're going to do, in those days we read, in those days, it's talking about their age. Those days, not our days. Those days, it said immediately after those days. Anyway, he was talking to his disciples, meaning their age. It's not future. But anyway, we're gonna keep this moving. We're gonna go to Mark 13, and we're gonna read verses 3 to 5, then 13 to 14, and then skip to 19. But this is the same event. The Most High prophesied the destruction of Jerusalem's people, the temple, and Jerusalem. So let's take a look at this, because these are not future days, not that they're not coming, but Matthew 24 has nothing to do with the future tribulation coming up on this world. You got to go someplace else in the Bible and read about that. It's there, but you're going to the wrong place. You're looking at something that's already happened, and you're not even telling the people what to look for. They're looking for the wrong, they're looking behind, and destruction is coming in front of them. This is what you did and do when you say Matthew 24 is future. It's not. It's happened already. Especially if you say Titus had anything to do with it. Titus is dead. Is he going to be resurrected and then destroy Jerusalem? Give me a break, people. Come on. Anyway, let's go and start at the 3 at Mark 13. Start at the 3rd verse. Let's take a look at this in Mark's eyes, through his eyes. Go ahead.
as he sat upon the Mount of Olives over against the temple.
Now, who sat there? That was Jesus. It's talking about Jesus, right? Now, who was he talking to?
Peter and James and John and Andrew asked him privately.
They asked the Lord a question about what he had predicted, what he had prophesied would happen. Okay? They asked him, does it have anything to do with us people or beyond us people? Come on, go ahead and read.
Tell us, when shall these things be?
Did he say tell them? Those in the future? He said tell us. He's talking to them. Tell us, Lord, because they wanted to know. Go ahead.
And what shall be the sign when all these things shall be fulfilled?
These miraculous miracles, supernatural events, when we should be looking for them. We should be looking for this, Lord, because this is going to indicate that this destruction you talked about is real close to us. Didn't he say tell us? This is what he's warning them. Ain't got nothing to do with you. But continue this.
And Jesus answered them.
He answered who?
Them.
He didn't answer us, brothers and sisters, today and beyond. It's just not what this says. Go ahead.
And Jesus answering them began to say, take heed lest any man deceive you.
Deceive them about what? These miraculous signs and events and miracles that would warn them and alert them that the destruction is approaching. You better get out of here. You better flee before it get here, because Jerusalem was a place that they locked Jerusalem down and you couldn't get out. Once you locked in, you couldn't get out. And in this instance, that was the wrong place to be, because you would be surely and certainly destroyed by what he was sending upon Jerusalem. Okay? But anyway, 13, skip to 13 and read 13 to 14.
And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake.
Wait a minute. Ye? He's still talking to who? His disciples, brothers and sisters. They were, and you can see that they were. But he said they were going to be hated by all men for his name's sake, preaching Jesus, preaching the gospel of Christ. Okay? And he that shall what?
But he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved.
Now pause here right quick. Let's look at this word. Let's go back to the Strongs and look up this word endure right quick. Because I want to interject something here. We're going to go to 5278 in the Greek section, and the word translated endure. And what is that word?
Hupomeno.
Okay, and what does it mean?
From 5259 and 3306, to stay under, behind, remain, to undergo, bear trials, have fortitude, preserve, abide, endure, patiently suffer.
So it means that you're going to have to endure this destruction that's coming up on Jerusalem. If you made it, if you made it to the end of the Romans who were destroying the temple, Jerusalem and its people, if you survived, you endured. That's all it's telling you. This is not talking about endure to the end of the world and all. This ain't got nothing to do with that. You could say that in the sense that their world at that time and the way it was situated in that time, hey, if you endured past this destruction, then you were fine. But you had to make it through it. This not talking about the end of the world, brothers and sisters. We're going to further show you that. So let's go back to Mark and finish that. You didn't finish that, did you?
No.
You left, okay. Pick it up where you left off at. Now, it says that he endured, it said, unto the end. Let's take a look at this word end. And we're going to further prove that this doesn't mean what you think it means. Look at that word end. Let's go back to the Strongs, and we're going to go to 5056 in the Greek section and define the word translated end. Okay, what's the word?
The word is telos.
And what does it mean?
From a primary telo, to set out for a definite point or goal.
Definite point or goal. There was a time that Jerusalem was going to be destroyed and it wouldn't go beyond that time period. Go ahead.
properly the point amid at as a limit.
It's aimed at a limit. Okay? So that was, like I said, a limited time. Go ahead.
I.e., by implication, the conclusion of an act or state, termination, literal, figurative, or indefinite.
Go ahead.
Result, immediate, ultimate, or prophetic purpose.
Okay, go ahead.
Specifically, an impost or levy as paid, plus continual custom in ending, finally, uttermost.
So, but we had the meaning of what we were getting at. The point aimed at a limit. So there was a limit on the Romans destroying when they destroyed, because Jesus mentioned that Israel was going to be carted off into captivity. The temple was going to be destroyed, not one stone left, and Jerusalem was going to be taken. Period. And when that was done, that was it. That was the end. Not the end of the world, people. Maybe the end of the world as they knew it, because they were no longer in Jerusalem, in the temple, and so forth. But not the end of the world. It said end, brothers and sisters, not the end of the world. The end of what? The end of the destruction. Israel being carted off into captivity, and Israel no longer occupying Jerusalem, the Holy Land. When that was over with, it was over with. And the Romans were sent in there to make this happen. So it was a set time. That's all end mean. It was going to begin, the destruction was going to begin, and they were going to fulfill that destruction. Every word that Jesus said, it was over. But it wasn't the end of the world. Still, the world is still here, ain't it?
Yeah.
Come on, people. Continue reading.
14. But when ye shall see the abomination of desolation.
The abomination of desolation. Listen. Before we go any further, we're going to stop here and we're going to define this word. I want you to go into the Nelson's Illustrated Dictionary of the Bible, page 7, and we're going to read about this abomination of desolation. And I think you're going to be pretty surprised at what it says. But we're going to get some clarity when we read this definition. And you can find it pretty much in encyclopedias and so forth, Bible dictionaries, the Strongs and so forth. But let's just read it from this Nelson's Bible dictionary here. It's on page 7, abomination of desolation. Read that definition.
Abomination of desolation. A despicable trouble.
What?
Despicable trouble.
Trouble, brothers and sisters. Isn't that what we read when we defined the word tribulation? It's connected. Go ahead.
An event foretold by Daniel, the prophet Daniel.
Okay.
In other words, Daniel prophesied that the temple would be used for an abominable purpose.
Wait a minute. Daniel did this? The temple. What temple? The temple in Jerusalem. It was in Jerusalem. Okay. Go ahead.
At some time in their future. As a result, God's faithful people would no longer worship there.
Sometime in their future. We're going to find out who this their future is talking about. Go ahead.
So great would be their moral revulsion, contempt, or abhorrence at the sacrilege, and the temple would become desolate.
It would become desolate. So, and that happened. But when? We're going to continue this because some people also believe this here. Continue reading this.
Some believed this prophecy was fulfilled about 165 BC when Antiochus IV Epiphanes, Greek ruler of Syria, polluted the Jewish temple in Jerusalem by sacrificing a pig on the holy altar.
This actually happened, but is that Well, is that what we're reading here in Matthew 24? Mm-mm. Different events. It did happen though, but it happened more than once. So this is not talking about St. Matthew 24 and Mark. They're not talking about Antiochus, Epiphanes. Okay, go ahead. And we're gonna show you that.
This sacrificing of the unclean pig was the worst kind of abomination that could have taken place.
Mm-hmm.
These people also believed the prophecy.
They also what?
Believed.
They also believe, these people, we're talking about the Hebrews and anybody else that would understand these events, okay? They also believe what?
The prophecy in the Gospel of Matthew and Mark.
Matthew and Mark, go ahead.
Was fulfilled when the Romans
Read that again. It was fulfilled when what? Go ahead.
Was fulfilled when the Romans, led by Titus, sacked the Jewish temple about 70 AD.
About 70 AD. This is what we're talking about. This is what Matthew and Mark is talking about, brothers and sisters. Not Epiphanes. We're not talking about Antiochus. We're talking about, these are the Romans that sacked Jerusalem in 70 AD when the disciples were talking to Christ and asking him about the destruction coming upon them and all that, the desolation and the suffering and so forth. So we have confirmed that, okay? But abomination, let's just define that word. We're going to go to another place in Vine's complete expository dictionary of Old and New Testament words. It's right under here. Let's just define that while we're here. And define that word, abomination. We're going to go to that, it's page 1. When you get there, read that. Abomination, define that word.
Abomination, loathsome, detestable thing. First, toaba defines something or someone as essentially unique in the sense of being dangerous, sinister, and repulsive to another individual or God.
Are we talking about one man here? Or are we talking about Titus and the Roman army? We're talking about Titus and the Roman army. They were dangerous. They were sinister and repulsive. Okay? We're going to conclude this by going to the Strongs and look at this word one more time, abomination. We're going to look at it from the Hebrew standpoint. We're going to go to 41 and see how the Hebrews define this word, abomination.
Abomination.
What's the word?
The word is toaba.
Okay.
Or toiba.
Okay.
Toyaba.
Okay. What does it mean?
Feminine act, part of 85-81. Properly, something disgusting.
Disgusting, repulsive. Go ahead.
Morally, i.e., as noun, an abhorrence.
Okay.
Especially idolatry, or concretely an idol. Abomination, abominable, custom, thing, abomination.
Sacrificing a pig in the temple was an abominable thing. It was disgusting. It was a custom that was not Israel. It was not holy. It made the temple unclean and even the people with respect to this particular act. So we got a real good understanding of this abomination of desolation being an abominable person. He's going to do an abominable thing. A thing that is totally disgusting, sinister, and repulsive in the eyes of the Hebrews. Okay? Now, if you can pick up your spot, go back to where you were and continue reading, and we're in Mark. Are you reading the 14th verse in Mark, chapter 13, verse 14. Go ahead.
But when ye shall see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet.
This ain't no one man, brothers and sisters. We're talking about an army here. Okay, go ahead.
Standing where it ought not.
It.
Let him that readeth understand. Then let them that be in Judea flee to the mountains.
It didn't say that. You're reading that wrong. It said let them in Judea flee to the wilderness.
No.
You sure?
I'm sure.
She's right. It says mountains, brothers and sisters. where is all this other stuff? You can't keep, see, the problem is you've taken scripture, you've allowed your teachers to take scripture and grab it from every which part of the Bible and put it all together, and what you have is a ball of confusion. They got scripture that don't belong together, and you got this thing totally confused. You don't know what to look for. What you're looking for is already passed by, and you're looking for the wrong thing because they have infused scripture that don't belong together with scripture, and you're looking at a picture that is, it's ridiculous.
And another thing, it says, let them that be in Judea.
In Judea.
Wait a minute. It can't be talking about this time because Israel is scattered all over the place.
This is a past event, brothers and sisters. It has nothing to do with you. Nothing at all. And we're going to further show this to you. And this is just something you need to be aware of. You need to find out what you need to be looking for. Because you don't know. You think you do. You don't know. You are looking at something and it's done already have. You waiting on a bus to come and it's already gone and stopped running. You don't even have to walk or you're just going to be stranded. It's as simple as that. This is not the future. Skip down to verse 19 and let's finish this mark.
For in those days.
What days?
Those days.
Those days, brothers and sisters, not our time or our days. It didn't say that. Go ahead.
Shall be affliction.
That is never we read about. Brothers, this is all hooked up.
Tribulation.
Tribulation. Go ahead. That's trouble. Affliction is trouble. Go ahead. In those days, this shall be affliction, trouble, dark days. Okay, suffering, pain, all of these things. Go ahead. Because of what this Roman army in Titus is going to do. Go ahead.
Such as was not from the beginning of the creation which God created unto this time, neither shall be.
And people just misconstrue this too. Brothers and sisters, can you name me an event that was more prolific than the flood? No! So that hasn't happened either. You have plenty of events in the Bible that will show you that they have happened and not going to happen again. So this is not in itself an event that is just outstandingly worse than any that has happened. I think the Lord flooding this world and saving just 8 people and animals and everybody else died is real tribulation, brothers and sisters. Not that this is not or wasn't, because this is a past event here, and even what's coming up on the world beyond us. Okay? Each one has its own merit. It's tribulation, and it's great when you involve people's lives and destruction and so forth. But you got to put them all in their proper context and all in their proper time periods and ages. Stop mixing all this stuff up together, and you have totally confused people. They don't know what they talking about and looking for. They reading this to people and talking crazy to people. This has already happened. It's about, Titus has already been here. Romans have already sacked Jerusalem. The temple has been destroyed. Now one brick has been left on that. It's gone. Just like he prophesied. And when did it happen? 70 AD. And why you keep going here reading about the future? This ain't got nothing to do with no future. St. Matthew and Mark, what we read, has nothing to do with no future, brothers and sisters. And I grant you, some of the things that are coming in the future may have similarities to that, because there's some similarities even to the flood and the things that happened. If you look closely, but that don't mean that you can say that we're waiting on that. We ain't waiting on the flood to happen again or St. Matthew to happen again. It's already happened. That wasn't for us, our time today and beyond us. Something else in this book which you should be reading to your congregation and really dwelling on and showing them what to look for. You're not even paying attention to it. You're just going back to the past. We have defined this word end, okay, and we're going to move on. We went to these two definitions of the word, went to the vines and so forth. And let's go now to Luke. Okay, let's look at Luke's viewpoint of this and see what he says about the same thing. We're going to go to Luke 21, verse 6 and 7, then we're going to skip to 19 and 20. And this is who's bringing, okay, because Luke is going to tell you and confirm who's bringing this desolation and destruction of the temple, because they were bragging about the temple. But he's going to tell you who's going to bring this destruction by way of the Lord telling you it's going to happen. Okay? Now, start at verse 6.
As for these things which ye behold, the days will come.
Oh, see, what he's saying is the time will come. Okay? And we're going to show that time has come in his past. Go ahead.
In the which there shall not be left one stone upon another.
Now, what is he talking about? He's talking about the temple, brothers and sisters. We don't have no temple in Jerusalem today. Jesus is not sitting over there talking to the disciples, telling them this. This has happened already. Why do you keep going to these places talking about his future? It's not. Go ahead.
That shall not be thrown down.
It was destroyed by Titus and the Roman army. Go ahead.
And they asked him, saying,
Yeah, who is they? We're going to find out specifically, but we know these are the disciples because they pulled him to the side and asked him proudly. We read that earlier about this destruction he was talking about and prophesying that was going to come upon his people and Jerusalem and the land. Go ahead.
Saying, Master, but when shall these things be?
When shall they happen? In what age? Go ahead.
And what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass?
We broke that word down and defined the sign. What miracle, what supernatural event shall we see that will convince us that these things are coming upon us? This is what this is saying. You don't define words so you don't understand when you read this and let other people just read it and just give you anything and you run with it. You can't do that, people. That's not being responsible. That's not being godly and righteous. That's not being upright. That's not being truthful. You got to understand this, but go ahead.
And he said, take heed that ye be not deceived.
Deceived by the words of who? People telling you contrary to what I have prophesied was going to happen. To you, the temple, the land, and the people here. When somebody tell you anything contrary, they're going to deceive you. So don't you listen to what? Their words. Their so-called prophecies about this. Don't listen to them. Go ahead.
For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and the time draweth near. Go ye not therefore after them.
Remember this, people. They're going to come supposedly in the power of Christ, or with the words of Christ, or with the doctrine of Christ, and spewing out something contrary. He said, don't go after them, meaning don't listen to them. And you people have not followed his advice. You listen to these people. Take something that's happened already and you think it's future. And you've taught others that it's future. And that's not right. Jesus warned you right here. You paid no attention to it. Go ahead. Let's skip down to now. Don't be persuaded, in other words, by their lying words. That's what he's telling them. Well, skip to 19. We're going to read 19 and 20.
In your patience possess ye your soul.
That's right.
And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies.
Wait a minute. When have you ever seen Jerusalem compassed with armies? I haven't. And I don't think any of you have either. Who is he talking to here? You don't understand this. It's right here. He's talking to the disciples who asked him, when shall these things be? When shall they happen, Lord? And so forth and so on. What sign, what miraculous sign are we going to see to let us know that this is upon us, the destruction of our people, the city and the temple and so forth? He said, when you shall see Jerusalem come past. So now we know what we talk, Jerusalem. So we know we're talking about Jerusalem. He said, when you see Jerusalem come past, meaning surrounded with armies. What army? Titus and the Roman army. Then know or recognize that the desolation, meaning destruction or the trouble or the dark days, are therefore nigh, meaning you got time to get out of there. Flee to the mountains, like I told you. Not the wilderness, people. Anyway, continue this.
Then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
As simple as that. And he's talking about in 70 AD, not in 2017 or beyond, brothers and sisters. You have to understand this. Let's continue this. Let's go back to Matthew 24, and we're going to read 2 verses 33 and 34, because we're trying to show you in the way that I put this together that this whole chapter has been fulfilled. All of it. Every ounce of it. You're talking about the past. You might have some similarities to maybe some events that may come, but this what we're talking about in this context. This is talking about what happened in 70 AD with Titus and the Roman army destroying Jerusalem, the temple, and the people of Jerusalem, taking them into captivity. That ain't happen. That's not going to happen beyond us. You got to understand this. But anyway, let's go to the 33rd verse and take a look at this. When you read, when you get there, read.
So likewise ye.
Ye, who is he talking to? You? No, he ain't talking to you. He's talking to his disciples, brothers and sisters. That's who asked him about this privately. Go ahead.
When ye shall see all these things.
Who gonna see all these things?
The disciples.
The disciples. He's not talking about you or me. How and why can't you understand this? And you let people twist this and put it in your head that these are future events, and he's plainly telling you who he's talking to and when this was going to take place. And you just reject it. And you let people put their own spin, and you're changing the word of God. That's what you're doing. You better remember that. Go ahead. And the Lord don't like that. That's another lesson, though. Go ahead.
When ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door.
The evil days, the tribulation, the trouble, the destruction is at the door. It's near. You got time to get out of there. Go ahead.
Verily I say unto you.
Truthfully, he's telling you, I say unto you, them, not us people, them. Who was he talking to? His disciple. He ain't talking to you. He ain't talking to nobody in 2017 or beyond. This is not for you. Go ahead.
This generation shall not pass.
What generation? Theirs, brothers and sisters. Who you think he's talking to? Go ahead.
Till all these things be fulfilled.
Till all these things be fulfilled. What things? The destruction that he prophesied that would come upon the land. The temple in Jerusalem. The people. Until all that was accomplished by the Romans and was over with. They couldn't fight no more because they had subdued them. Then it was over with. It was fulfilled. It didn't mean nothing. This ain't talking about no power of the Gentiles is over with and finished. You're not understanding what you're reading. It has nothing to do with that. And I think we do touch on that a little bit, but this is talking about when this destruction has been fulfilled, that's the end of it. Simple as that. When Israel's punishment has been fulfilled and Jerusalem is taken down, the headquarters of Israel, it's fulfilled. That's all it's telling you. Okay, let's go again. Now let's go back to Mark 13. We're going to read 29 and 30 there because, again, I ask you, brothers and sisters, who is Jesus talking to? Okay? And he was talking to his disciples before the destruction came upon Israel and the land in 70 years. So slightly a little bit before that. But he's telling them what to look for. Okay? And started at 29 verse.
Okay. So ye in like manner, when ye shall see these things come to pass.
Who shall see these things? Who is he talking to? Go ahead.
The disciples. Know that it is nigh, even at the door.
We wasn't there back then. People, come on. He's not talking to you. We didn't see none of this because we weren't really born then. He's talking to another age, a past age of people. Okay? About a temple that they adorned and they came out of. A land that they were living in, dwelling in. Okay? He's talking about that. When you see these things, you know that this destruction is near you. Because he said that Israel was wicked. They had to be punished. Okay, go ahead.
Verily I say unto you, that this generation...
Who? Their generation. Go ahead.
Shall not pass.
Shall not end. Go ahead.
Till all these things be
events,
done.
till all these events be done. Meaning over. finished or completed. That's what he's telling them here. He ain't talking to you. You're not talking about 2017 and beyond. This is not future, people. Quit going to these places trying to make it future. Let's go to Luke 21. We're going to read 22 and then skip to 24 and continue this. Excuse me. Look what happens when Titus and the Romans surround Jerusalem. Okay, because this is what we're talking about here. This ain't got nothing to do with no future event. Go ahead, start reading it 22.
For these be the days of vengeance.
Of who?
Vengeance.
Vengeance. The Lord always gets his pound of flesh when you disobey him and you change his laws and you treat the poor and the needy and the widow and all of these. You kill people, innocent blood. All of this. Go ahead.
That all things which are written may be fulfilled.
That's right. Skip to 24.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword.
Wait a minute. When did we fall by the edge of the sword? Huh? I ain't seen a man in my lifetime walking the street with no sword on his belt and an army of people walking with swords. This is literal because they had them back then. The Roman army,
Oh, yeah.
they had swords, people. This is not talking about a future event. This right here should let you know that this is talking about their generation, not us. Continue this.
And shall be led away captive.
This right here ought to prove it, right? Ought to seal it. They were led, Israel was led away captive. Once the city of Jerusalem was invaded by the Romans, because they surrounded it, okay, they subdued the people by killing so many of them. We're going to read a little bit about that too. And then they destroyed the temple. Not one stone was left. It wasn't so beautiful when the Romans came up out of there. Okay? They then carted Israel off, the remaining people who were alive, off into what? Captivity into all nations. This has already happened, people. This is not a future event. Go ahead.
Be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles.
Trodden down by Titus. Wasn't Titus and the Romans Gentiles? Sisters and brothers, come on now. This is not that complicated. This is simple, it's plain, but it hasn't been given to you like this. So you can see that people take you to these places talking about this future. You should stop them. Oh, it's not future, I'm sorry. Now, something's going to happen in our immediate future or a little distant future, but it ain't this. And it's in the book, but it's not this. Go ahead and continue this.
Until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Until the time of what be fulfilled? Till destruction, till they finish destroying Jerusalem.
They were given that time to do it.
The Gentiles are still in power, people. Even from that point to now. And it will be beyond us until the Lord comes. That hasn't happened yet. Stop taking people here to see the Gentiles, this, that, and other. Gentiles are still in power. And this is not talking about taking them out of power. This is just simply telling you until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. I gave the Gentiles an order. I brought this nation down on Israel for their wickedness and their sinful ways, and I'm giving them time to complete what I sent them to do, to destroy the people, the land, and the temple, and cart these people off into captivity, because I don't want them in my land no more, because they are wicked. They are evil. They are into sorcery, witchcraft, and all this stuff Israel became. Israel became a wicked nation, brothers and sisters. You cannot stand in any place and profess to be the Lord's priest when you do these things, prostitution, and all this stuff. I can go on and on and on about the wickedness of Israel, murder, bribes. Okay? So this is what he's saying. When the Gentiles come in there, the times of the Gentiles, they have a set time to go in there and complete this task, and when it's over with, it's finished. That's all it's saying. Ain't got nothing to do with no end of time and this, that, and the other, and all of that. Or the power of the Gentile. They're going to keep on until the Gentiles' power will be. People, you don't understand what you read. You have no comprehension at all because you've just given it away. You giving it away. You throwing it away. You want to listen to the words of men instead of the words of your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, His gospel. Also the prophets. You don't want to deal with what they're saying specifically here, but the time of the Gentiles being fulfilled has nothing to do with the Gentiles being rooted out of power. We can see that clearly. It just means since they had a set time to go into Jerusalem to destroy it, that was it. It was fulfilled. That's what Jesus said. And you have twisted it into something altogether different. It don't make no sense. It has nothing to do with the rulership of the Gentiles being at an end, brothers and sisters. It didn't come to an end in 70 AD, because this is what we're reading about here. And you can't even see that. That don't make no sense. The Lord told you many shall come and deceive many in His name, professing to be this and that, and they just teaching you things that are not true, okay? And we have an eyewitness of these events. These are miraculous signs. Let's go take a look at it, because he's going to share a whole lot with you and shine a whole lot of light on what Jesus was saying to His disciples in Mark, Matthew, and Luke. Let's go look at the world-renowned Hebrew Israelite, Josephus. He was there. He was an eyewitness of the destruction. He warred with the Romans. He was there. And let's look at his take on this. We're going to go to the book of Josephus, Jewish War. We're going to go to 6.5.2, paragraph 285 and 286. And people, this is talking about 70 AD. He's an eyewitness, Josephus that is, and you were not there when this happened. It's as simple as that. Now, remember some of the things that Jesus warned you about in Luke, and Luke wrote about it, and Matthew and so forth. In St. Matthew 24. Rumors of wars and the false, this, that, and the other. Let's read what Josephus told you happened. Okay? Start at 285, paragraph 285.
A false prophet was the occasion of these people's destruction.
What people? Israel. He told you many would come in His name, didn't He? False prophets did this, brothers and sisters. They came in Jesus' name trying to tell you what He said, and He told you, don't go after them, don't listen to them. But look at this. A false prophet was the occasion of this or these people, Israel's destruction. That means they didn't take heed to what Jesus said, that they were destroyed. Go ahead.
Who had made a public proclamation in the city that very day, that God commanded them to get upon the temple.
No, He didn't. He told them to flee, didn't He? He told them to flee. This is a false prophet here, spreading falsehood, getting the people destroyed. They had time to get out of there, but He made them stay and went to the very place that the Lord said wouldn't one stone be left. He sent them to their destruction. Pay attention to what you're reading here, people. Go ahead.
And that there they should receive miraculous signs of their deliverance.
Not of deliverance, the miraculous signs, as we read, were supposed to be a warning for them to get out of there. But He's saying the signs was about
their deliverance.
See what a false prophet does? You got to be careful, people. But this happened in 70 AD. This was in Jerusalem. You're looking at an eyewitness account of the destruction of your people if you profess to be Hebrew Israelite. This is something to pay attention to, because a lot of this is going on today. You're listening to men instead of listening to the Word of God. You believe in men instead of believing the Word of God. This is why you don't understand that St. Matthew 24 has been completely fulfilled. As simple as that. But go ahead and continue. Let's go to 286, paragraph 286, and start there and read that.
Now there was then a great number of false prophets.
What? A great number back then in 70 AD of false prophets, brothers and sisters. Go ahead.
Suborned by the tyrants to impose on the people, who pronounced this to them, that they should wait for deliverance from God.
Jesus didn't say that. He didn't tell them to wait. He said, flee. Did he not?
Yes, he did.
When you shall therefore see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, flee.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't tell you to wait on nothing. Because you had time to escape. But them false prophets convinced them to stay there. They believed a lie. Mm-hmm. And it cost them their lives. Millions of them. So anyway, go ahead and continue this.
And this was in order to keep them from deserting, and that they might be buoyed up, up above fear and care by such hopes.
Hope's into nothing. Because there wasn't no hope for you if you didn't do what Jesus told you. Beware of them false prophets. They're going to come in my name and tell you contrary to what I'm telling you now. You don't listen to them. If you do, you're going to be destroyed. And that's unfortunately what happened to a whole bunch of Hebrew Israelites back in 70 AD, brothers and sisters. But now let's continue this. We're going to stay in Josephus' Jewish Wars 6.5.3. And we're going to go to paragraph 288 and read paragraph 288 to 292. When you get to 288, start reading there. We're going to continue this. This is an eyewitness account now of what happened in 70 AD. Ain't got nothing to do with you. That's what St. Matthew, Luke, and Mark was trying to tell you. Josephus was there. He's laying it out so you can see what happened. Go, and it's in line with what Jesus warned you about. But many people didn't take heed. Go ahead.
Thus were the miserable people persuaded by these deceivers.
These false prophets, these deceivers. Because they deceive the people. That's what false prophets do. And they were miserable because anytime you don't take heed to the truth, what comes after that? Misery, brothers and sisters. And that's what the Lord prophesied upon this wicked nation. If they didn't repent, and they didn't. And we know this is a past event. Continue reading.
And such as belied God himself, while they did not attend nor give credit to the signs.
Wait a minute. To what?
To the signs.
These supernatural events that the Lord calls them to see. These miracles seen. They didn't believe them. But that was the Lord giving you a sign. Hey, something's coming up on you. Remember what I told you? They just believed them false prophets and didn't believe it. What they were seeing. Go ahead.
That were so evident. And did so plainly foretell their future desolation.
What? Destruction. Their future. Because these signs was supposed to let you know that it was coming. That destruction the Lord talked about, it was coming. But they didn't pay no attention to it because of these false prophets. But anyway, continue reading.
But like men infatuated, without either eyes to see or minds to consider.
It was like they were just deaf mutes and dummies. Listen, they were infatuated with lies, with untruths. And these false prophets got away with words, brothers and sisters, as they do in our time, to put a spell on you, it seems. And you're spellbound by ignorance and lies. You wallow in it, and you think it's a great thing. No, it's not. And you're seeing this right here. If you profess to be a Hebrew, this is what happened to your people, because they wouldn't listen to the truth and believe God. And these people here, he said they were, this is a great way Josephus put it. And he said, but like men infatuated, without either eyes to see or minds to consider. This is bad. Go ahead.
Blind and dumb.
Exactly.
Did not regard the denunciations that God made to them.
And they didn't. Because the blind leading the blind, the book said they're going to go where? Into a ditch.
To a ditch.
It's as simple as that. So that's what happened to them. But let's continue. Keep reading now. 289, paragraph 289. Continue this. Now here's one of these miraculous signs or miracles that appeared, and they ain't paying no attention. Go ahead. To warn them to get out of there. Get out of Jerusalem. Don't go to the temple and wait on nothing. Get out of there. Flee. They didn't take heed. They were infatuated with the lies of the false prophets. Go ahead.
Thus there was a star resembling a sword.
Now, if I look up in the sky and see a star and it's shaped like a sword, What do you think I'm going to do? And the Lord had already warned me about destruction coming upon this wicked civilization of Israel. And I see something like this, I'm going to have to stop and think about this. Why would a miraculous sign appear like that? A sword don't mean it's for me. It's against me, people. Anyway, continue.
Which stood over the city, and a comet
Meaning a falling star. Go ahead.
that continued a whole year.
Whole year, and they didn't take heed. This doesn't make any sense. Continue at 290, paragraph 290.
Thus also before the Jews' rebellion, and before those commotions which preceded the war, when the people were come in great crowds to the feast of unleavened bread on the 8th day of the month Xanthicus, Nisan.
Which is Nisan. Go ahead.
And at the 9th hour of the night.
Now pay attention to this. At the 9th hour of the night, these people. Now this is, again, like I said earlier, time for them to pay attention to these miraculous signs and get it in their head. You know what? After these times, let's get out of here. We're seeing things that the Lord was talking to. We got to get out of here. Because destruction is coming upon this place. They didn't even think that way. Go ahead.
So great a light shone around the altar of the holy house
The
and
temple.
the holy house,
This is talking about the temple. Go ahead.
that it appeared to be bright daytime,
What? Go ahead.
which lasted for half an hour.
This wouldn't have caused you to stop and consider anything if you'd have been there at that time and saw this. That's two signs we done read about, right? Okay, one was a whole year.
Well, actually 3 signs, because the star resembling a sword,
Exactly.
the comet for a whole year, and then this one on
This bright
unleavened
light.
bread.
Exactly. 3 signs. And they didn't consider, didn't even cause of the false prophets. Okay, let's continue this at 291, paragraph 291.
This light seemed to be a good sign.
A supernatural event or miracle. Okay, miraculous event. The Lord is trying to tell them something, but they ain't paying. They ain't listening. Go ahead.
To the naive,
They were. That's what they were.
but was so interpreted by the sacred scribe.
Meaning they were false. Because if you go contrary to God's truth, you a false prophet too. Go ahead. So you had the scribes working against them even. Go ahead.
As to pretend those events that followed immediately upon it.
Go ahead. 292 paragraph.
At the same festival also,
Now pay attention to this sign. Go ahead.
a heifer,
That's a cow or an ox. Go ahead.
as she was led by the high priest to be sacrificed, brought forth a lamb in the midst of the temple.
Brothers and sisters, if you
Wait a minute. A cow brought
A
forth
cow?
a lamb?
a cow gave birth to a lamb, and this would not arise your suspicion that something is going on here, you wouldn't think about the words that the Most High spoke to you and warned you about something, meaning destruction coming upon your civilization, your temple, your Jerusalem, your land. You're not thinking about none of this because the false prophets were very good at what they were doing. They were sending people to death. They were very good at that. So let's skip to 296 and continue. This is another sign. Nobody paid no attention to it. But I'm going to show you eventually that the disciples who listened, they got away. They escaped. Many of them escaped. Go ahead.
So these publicly declared that the signal foreshadowed the desolation that was coming upon them.
Upon who? Them. Not us, people. Not beyond 2017 or slightly before it. It ain't got nothing to do with us. This has already happened. That's why I started this in Matthew 24, because that's what we're talking about here. But this has nothing to do with us. Keep on reading.
Besides these, a few days after that feast, on the 120th day of the month Artemis, Artemisius,
Or Yar. That's
Jar,
a Hebrew name for that month. Go ahead.
a certain
Let's skip to 297. Paragraph 297. Go ahead.
a certain great and incredible
Phenomenon. What's a phenomenon? Miracle, a sign, a supernatural event, brothers and sisters. It appeared. This phenomenon appeared. Go ahead.
I suppose the account of it would seem to be a fable.
A fable. It seemed to be, but it wasn't. Go ahead.
Were it not related by those that saw it.
So you had some people who were paying attention. They witnessed this. Go ahead.
And were not the events that followed it so considerable in nature as to deserve such signals. For before sunsetting, chariots and troops of soldiers in their armor were seen, running about among the clouds and surrounding of cities.
What cities?
Wow.
Did you look at this sign right here? They saw this. They saw this, people. This is just slightly before the Romans surrounded and did what they did and destroyed Jerusalem. These signs came because the Lord had to warn the righteous. And these were warnings for the righteous. Excuse me. For the people who did not deserve that particular punishment, because you had a lot of good people in Jerusalem at that time. And the ones that paid attention, they saw these signs, they took heed, and they got away.
In the clouds.
And this was in the clouds. This is what happened. They saw these miraculous signs, these supernatural events, and which Jesus said that they would see. And here they are right here. Go ahead.
Moreover, at that feast, which we call Pentecost, as the priests were going by night into the inner court of the temple, as their custom was.
Okay, now let's stop right there. I just want to read that sign, and we're going to keep it moving because I've shown you enough. It's so much more, people. So much more. I can't give it all to you, but I showed you enough to let you know that what Jesus was saying to his disciples has nothing to do with us or beyond us. Matthew 24, Mark, and it has nothing to do with us. And you got to understand that and believe the truth. But we're going to keep it moving. St. Matthew 24, brothers and sisters, has been fulfilled, completely fulfilled. This is simple, right? That generation that was mentioned, that would see these things, was not ours. It was a past generation. It's the generation of the disciples. Okay? And it is what it is. You have to accept the truth or just get rid of the Bible. You don't want to believe what the Bible says when it's read in its proper context and broken down correctly and appropriately, truthfully, then you don't even need to be, don't bother. Just go out in the world and be foolish. It don't make no sense to be foolish with the Bible, and this is the truth of truth. This is God's word. So don't be foolish with that under your arm. Just be foolish without it, if that's what you choose to do. Anyway, we're going to go on. I'm going to show you something. Here's further proof that Jesus didn't come in the clouds in 70 AD. That wasn't his second coming. Because that's what it would have been if you start counting. It hasn't happened yet. Jesus ain't made his second coming yet, brothers and sisters. So that coming in the clouds has to be symbolic of something. It was symbolic of the destruction brought forth by the Romans. Mm-hmm. Just like him coming in the clouds or coming in the days of Noah. He came in the form of the destructive flood waters. Simple as that. In that form. And destroyed everything that was not righteous. It's as simple as that. That had been tainted, corrupted. And people don't understand this. But having read an eyewitness account of Josephus, we pretty much see that this is a past event. St. Matthew 24 is past tense. All of it. Like I said, Josephus was a great eyewitness, but this also will show you that Jesus did not come in no clouds, brothers and sisters. Let's go to Revelations 1 and read one verse, verse 7. It says something here. And again, we're talking eyewitnesses. Eyewitnesses of the Lord coming in the clouds. We don't have any because he hasn't made his second coming yet. But you profess to say that he did. If you say that when you read, say, Matthew 24, that's future. The Lord came in the form of the Romans in 70 AD, brothers and sisters, with destruction. As when he comes literally, he's going to destroy the wicked. You don't understand what you've been reading. You don't know how to parallel and put things together so you can get the proper understanding of stuff you're reading. And that's bad. That's not good. And you trying to continue to teach people this foolishness. Anyway, let's read that one verse 7 and see what it says here. This ain't happened yet. Go ahead.
Behold, he cometh in the clouds.
Who cometh in the clouds?
Jesus.
Jesus Christ. Go ahead.
And every eye shall see him.
Every what?
Eye.
Every eye shall see him, brothers and sisters. Go ahead.
And they also which pierced him.
So we know we're talking about Jesus Christ here. This ain't happened yet. Go ahead.
And all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen.
All of the wicked, no matter what you are, you're going to wail when you see him because you know he coming and he ain't going to be playing when he coming. Because he's going to do some things that's going to get your attention and they're going to be fearful things. In any case, but did this happen in 70 AD? No. Simple as that. And if you say Matthew 24 is talking about 70 AD, then that cannot be future. Can it? No. It's as simple as that. This is easy. This is simple. It's not complicated or hard. Only your hard noggins make things complicated and hard because you're stiff-necked. And you shouldn't be that way. But you're not fighting against me. You're fighting against the Lord, your Lord and Savior. Either he's going to save you or he's going to destroy you. You better choose a side and change your attitude and your conduct and what you are spewing out of your mouth and you're listening coming through your ears. And I say that wholeheartedly. I don't want anybody destroyed. Okay? But this didn't happen. This hasn't happened yet. Let's move. Let's go back to St. Matthew 24 and go right to verse 15 and 16. We're going to read also the 21, then skip to the 29. We are going to take a look at this. The temple was completely destroyed, and that will never happen again. When you read that, you can kind of understand why the Lord said ain't gonna be no time like this, like never would. The temple ain't gonna be destroyed no more. That's what he's talking about. We got plenty of things that happen in the Bible that ain't gonna happen again. That's nothing new. A time like this, ain't gonna never be no time like this. Of course it's not. It ain't gonna be no time like it was in the flood either. So come on, people. Don't let people sensationalize things and have you thinking like a little small, your mind's in a little small box. No, expand your mind. Look at the Word of God. Don't listen to what people are telling you. Look at the Word of God. Even this lesson we're giving, I want you to go over it and investigate it even more so, and history and all of that. So anyway, we're going to look at another thing in this. We're going to read past verse 30. We're going to see if that's a literal. Is it literal? I'm asking you that question before we get there. Did Jesus, the Son of Man, come in the clouds in the days of Noah? Did he? Go ahead. But anyway, when we get there, you get there, let's start reading this. Let's start. Verse 15.
When ye shall therefore see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet.
Who are the Romans? We've proven that. This is talking about the Romans coming to destroy Jerusalem in 70 AD. And the abominable thing they did some things in the temple too. I just didn't read that to you. Josephus will testify that not only that, when you set foot, abominable people set foot on a holy place, that's abominable. A whole land of Israel was holy people. And the unclean, when you set foot on it, you're an abomination. You can't mix clean with filth and it be holy. So this is what this is telling you as well. Continue reading.
Standing in the holy place.
He's going to stand in the holy place and The Romans, many of them went in that temple, and they were standing in that temple. They went in the holy place, brothers and sisters. You can read that too if you look, if you research history. Your own relative, Josephus, will tell you all about it. He was a witness, and you don't want to read that. And you let people just pump foolishness in your mind. But anyway, these Romans are going to come in the land. They're going to stand in the holy place, meaning Jerusalem, the land of Jerusalem, and also the temple. Go ahead.
Whoso readeth, let him understand.
Understand this. Go ahead.
Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains.
Flee where?
Into the mountains.
Into the mountains. We reading this again because I want this to go. I want this to sit right in your mind. You ain't in Judea. You can't flee to no mountains because you're not there. This is a past event, brothers and sisters. This has already happened. This is not talking to you, telling you to flee to no mountains.
Or the wilderness.
And they changed it. They say wilderness. They're trying to make it future. You see how these people with this falsehood are doing? You're not paying attention. Continue to read this.
21. For then shall be great tribulation.
Meaning trouble, anguish, evil days coming upon who? Upon Jerusalem. Upon Israel back in that day. And the temple back in that day ain't got nothing to do with today or beyond us, brothers and sisters. Go ahead.
Such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time.
Not in any age. And it won't be. That's not going to happen again. Just like the flood ain't going to happen again. And other events that were catastrophic on nations and whatnot are not going to happen again. Even when you can go and see certain things where Israel was eating their children. You can't read about that happening, beyond us. But you're not paying attention to what you read. You're not at all. You're just taking people's word for stuff and you just spew nonsense out of your mouth with no literal evidence and proof of what you're saying at all because it's right in your face and you don't even know how to comprehend what you're reading. Go ahead. Especially what you're teaching. Go ahead. No, not to say nor ever shall be.
Nor ever shall be.
Go now, it says, nor ever shall be, not any destruction. This destruction like this that happened in this time, it ain't gonna be, because Josephus will let you know how Israel was destroyed back then, and you ain't gonna see no people destroyed like that. It is something to behold, to read. You can actually imagine this in your minds, brothers and sisters. It was horrible. You ain't gonna see no people destroyed like Israel were when the Romans came in there. The Romans were vicious, and they completed the destruction of the temple, the land, and the people. Unlike other, it's just horrible. In any case, let's continue. Skip down to verse 29. There ain't gonna be no time like that again, ever again. That's what that's talking about. Okay? Just like many other situations of destruction that come up on the world. Ain't gonna be nothing like those times again. Each one has its place. But that's to say not, it's like people say, well, this ain't gonna happen but once. It's happened a lot of times. Come on. 29th verse, let's read that.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days.
That's the title of our class, and that's what you see why I titled it that. Immediately after the tribulation or trouble, anguish, suffering of those days. What days? The days of the disciples and the temple in the land. After those days, ain't got nothing to do with today or tomorrow or after 2017. Come on, people. Go ahead.
Shall the sun be darkened?
Now keep this in mind. Shall the sun be darkened? Go ahead.
And the moon shall not give her light. And the stars shall fall from heaven.
The stars are going to fall from heaven. Go ahead.
And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken.
Shall be shaken. Let me show you what this means because it's symbolic, not literal, brothers and sisters, in this context. Reading it out of Matthew. Okay? Because 70 AD, didn't no stars fall out of the sky? No way. Okay? And other things didn't happen either. Let me show you what this is talking about. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 12. And we're going to read 2 verses, and it's going to explain this. I can go further, but this is enough right here. And if you want to find more, you can. You need to do some research. Reread your Bibles. Okay? With your Strongs right to your right. And other information that will help you understand what you're reading here. But let's go to Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 1 and 2. This is Bible terminology just for your information. And nothing more. That's all it is. You know, and it's used to point us toward the coming destruction or destructive events, meaning destruction of or on a people from the Lord by way of another people. And this is going to tell you something here. Verse 1.
Remember now thy Creator.
Wait a minute. When people get in trouble and they being destroyed and so who they start calling on?
On the Lord.
The Creator. It ain't the right time to do it then, because you should have been calling on before that. But just take a look at it. Remember now thy Creator. Okay. And this is who people call on. But why do they call on their Creator? And when do they call on their Creator? Go ahead.
In the days of thy youth.
Go ahead.
While the evil days come not.
The evil days, meaning the tribulation, brothers and sisters. The trouble, the destruction come not. While it come not, hey, you better get some type of relationship with your Creator. And remember Him. So He'll have your back. When this happens, you'll be okay. Go ahead.
Nor the years draw nigh.
So sometimes it takes years for the Lord to punish a wicked person or a wicked nation of people. Okay, so before all this come upon you, hey, remember your Creator. Okay, before the evil days or the tribulation comes not, nor the years draw nigh or near. Go ahead.
When thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened.
Be not what?
Darkened.
Darkened. Go ahead.
Nor the clouds return after the rain.
Now it's got the light and the clouds in this thing too. But it's talking about the sun and the moon. This is Bible terminology, brothers and sisters. Just letting you know what's coming. Evil days. Evil days is coming upon somebody. And it's from the Lord. It's as if the Lord is Himself is coming. Because He's making this happen. He's punishing you. Whatever nation you may be that broke His laws and whatnot, He's going to send evil days upon you. That's all this is talking about. That's what came upon Israel in St. Matthew 24, is it not? Evil days. Tribulation, anguish, suffering, death because of their wickedness. That's all that's talking about when you go back and read about the sun and the moon and so forth, the stars falling and all that. Darkness, all of that. That means evil days. That's all it means. Terrible trouble and time coming upon you or whoever the Lord sent this on. That's symbolic. Bible terminology, just letting you know that the Lord is getting ready to hurt somebody, to destroy somebody with another nation. All right, we're going to go. Did you finish that? All right, we're going to go now back to Matthew 24 and read verse 30. Let's continue this.
And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven.
It didn't say Jesus, brothers and sisters. Then shall appear Jesus Christ in heaven. It didn't say that. It said the sign, meaning some miraculous sign or supernatural event is going to be seen by all those that see it, and then you're going to know that what Jesus prophesied to take place is going to happen, but He Himself is not there. Literally. You're not paying attention to what you're reading. Okay? He said the sign. Not Jesus Himself. Go ahead.
And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn.
Because this punishment is coming upon Israel, so we talk about the tribes of Israel. They're going to mourn. Go ahead.
And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
Whoever He sent or sends on you, they will be coming to do you harm with power, and they're going to be doing it in the glory of God by His permission, with His authority. This is what this means here. Power and greater simply means they will see miracles which will confirm the destruction coming upon them. Simple as that. I want you to do something right quick. I'm going to show you something, people. I want you to go back and I want you to read that Matthew 24 verse 30 again. I'm going to show you something that's in here that Jesus said. It ties perfectly, but I'm going to show you it also ties with something that Josephus said. But read that again.
And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven.
Miraculous sign, okay? An event. You're going to see this thing. Go ahead.
And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
Now, what did Josephus say? One of the signs were, let me go back to it right quick, because I can go back to it. I have it here and show you what Josephus said that they saw. And it lines up with this perfectly. And this was one of the signs. He said, it is in Josephus 6.5.3, I believe, paragraph 298. It says, and 299, it says, for before sunsetting, chariots and troops of soldiers in their armor were seen running about among the clouds and surrounding the city. Didn't Titus surround Jerusalem? This is what Jesus was telling you was going to happen, and they saw a sign that this was going to happen before it happened, and they didn't flee.
They didn't even pay attention.
They didn't pay attention to it, except for the ones who knew what they were looking at, because many of the disciples, they escaped, because they understood what the Lord was saying, because that's why they pulled them privately to the side, and he told them, and they got out of there. But the people who were influenced by the false prophets got caught up in this destruction. But here's that sign right here in Josephus, the same one we just read in Matthew 24 and 30. That's over with, brothers and sisters. That is not future. That's the past. It's happened already. That whole chapter has been fulfilled. And we at verse 30. I guarantee you, but this lines up with that perfectly. Now let's continue this lesson. Let's go now to Isaiah 19 and 1, because I want to show you something here. It said the Lord coming in the clouds, right? It says this. See, I'm see if this is. Let's see if this is real right here. It's symbolic, brothers and sisters. Is this a literal event? You tell me. This is Isaiah 19:1. This is the burden of Egypt. Read that verse 1. Just one verse.
The burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt.
Wait a minute. Now, when did anybody record this in history? That the Lord was riding on a cloud and came into Egypt and destroyed Egypt? Brothers and sisters, this didn't happen this way. This was not literal. It represented something. Continue to read.
And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it.
He's just simply telling you that he's bringing dark days or judgment upon Egypt, and he did in the form, and he's telling you he's coming in the cloud. He's just telling you this is what I'm going to do. But they always use this terminology to let you know that God is getting ready to send judgment on a nation via another nation, because they were destroyed by another nation, Egypt at that time. It's just evil days, dark times,
swift clouds. You know, when swift clouds come in, usually it's a thunderstorm. It's dark.
And it's letting you know great tribulation came at this time upon Egypt. The Lord didn't literally come in no cloud, riding up on no cloud into Egypt and destroy them. People, you're not understanding what you read. Let's go back to St. Matthew 24 and read the 31st verse now. We're just trying to break this chapter down and show you, because we didn't have to start reading early on about the signs and this, that, and the other. You understand all of that, but you can go back and read that too. That's already taking place. But all of the stuff that people try to go to and show you that it's future, we've shown you that it's not. All you got to do is trace this stuff back to history. They have written accounts of this, of 70 AD's destruction, and who did it, and who was there, and who was destroyed, and so forth, and what was destroyed. And you cannot say that that's future. You need to stop doing that. But here we're going to read the 31st verse of Matthew 24 and continue this. Or when you get to 31, Matthew 24, read that.
And he shall send his angels.
Who? The Lord going to send his angels, okay? Go ahead.
with a great sound of a trumpet.
Of the trumpet. Go ahead.
And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
Now, brothers and sisters, he said, it says here that he shall send his angels. Are these angelic beings here? No, they're not. I'm going to show you that. And it said with the sound of a great trump. Did it say seventh trump?
No.
No, it did not. You've allowed people to add things to the word of God, and the book warns you, don't let them do that. This does not say the seventh trumpet was blown here, or that these were actual angelic beings here. Okay, and I'm going to show you that too. Let's first of all define angels that in this particular verse here. We're going to go to 32 in the Greek section in Strong's Bible Concordance, and the word the Greek word, in the Greek section, the word translated angels. What is the word?
The word is angelo.
And it means?
From angelo. Angelo, rather. Probably derived from 71.
Go ahead.
Comparatively 34. To bring tidings.
So these angels, whoever they may be, bring tidings. Go ahead. And they also bring what?
A messenger.
A messenger. So a messenger brings you good news or bad news from who?
From the Lord.
From the Lord. Go ahead.
Especially an angel.
This is an angelic being. Go ahead.
By implication, a pastor.
Wait a minute. Who?
Pastor.
A pastor, it can be an angel too, brothers and sisters, and he brings good news and a message from God too. And that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about no angelic beings here. I'm going to show you that because it says the trumpet was going to be blown. All right, and people think that that's the seventh trumpet, but it didn't say seventh trumpet. The seventh trumpet was being blown here. Let's go to Ezekiel 33. Let me show you something. We're going to read 1 to the 5. Ezekiel, the 33rd chapter. And we're going to see who was in charge of blowing the trumpet. Because when you blow a trumpet, that's to warn people of who? Of God. That trumpet, when that trumpet blows, the Lord is coming charging, and he's not going to be nice when he comes. So he's warning you. Whoever blows this trumpet, that's a signal, a sign. That's to let you know that something is really, dark days are coming. Destruction is coming. Tribulation is coming. And nobody's paying attention to this. Okay, when you get to 33, Ezekiel 33, verse 1, start reading verse 1. We're going to read down to the 5. Because who's blowing the trumpet here? Are these angelic beings or are these men? Okay, go ahead.
Again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying,
the Lord spoke to Ezekiel. Go ahead.
Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword... Who brings this sword?
The Lord. He said, when I bring this sword. So this destruction is coming from the Lord, as it's always throughout the Bible. He sends it upon the wicked. Okay? Not just innocent people, but upon the wicked. All right? So this is what we're talking about here. This is why this trumpet was mentioned in Matthew. Okay? Go ahead. He said, when I bring the sword
upon the land.
And that what came upon Jerusalem in 70 AD also. Go ahead.
If the people of the land take a man of their coast.
Take a who?
A man.
A man. This man could be a priest. He could just be a plain on that man. A messenger. Go ahead.
And set him for their watchman.
Oh, now he's the watchman. He's watching for this army or whomever is coming to do harm to his people. So he's going to do what? Keep reading.
If when he seeth the sword cometh upon the land.
And armies at that time would come and they would be carrying swords. So when he see the army coming with these swords attached to their waist, getting ready to do up on the land to do what? To do harm. What is he supposed to do?
He blow the trumpet and warn the people.
He blows the trumpet and warn the people. But the Lord said, I sent this upon the people. But you put a watchman there and warn the people so they can be ready for this. Go ahead.
Then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword Lord come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head.
Go ahead.
He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning. His blood shall be upon him.
Because he didn't flee. That's what the trumpet is being blown for, you to run. Okay, go ahead.
But he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul.
By what? Doing what? By fleeing, people. That's why the man is blowing the trumpet to get you. Don't you think there were many trumpets being blown back in 70 AD, letting the people know? Mm-hmm. But it was too late. Because they saw, and I didn't read all the signs that happened, that occurred out of Josephus. I just read you some of the pertinent signs. All of them were pertinent, but I read you enough signs so you could see they had fair warning to get up out of there.
For months.
Exactly. And didn't move. Didn't move. They allowed those false prophets to change their mind, and they listened to the words of the false prophets instead of remembering, holding to heart the words of Christ. And they were destroyed because they didn't take heed. The trumpet was blown, they didn't take heed. That's what Matthew, we read out of Matthew. This ain't there no angelic being doing this. This is talking about men, pastors, because the priest had the trumpets. What is a pastor? If not a priest or a religious person or a person preaching something, come on, people. This stuff is simple. It's right there. But you're not breaking it down. You're not really looking at it the way you should. You're just taking somebody's word, and all you want to do is preach doom and gloom. And the Bible is not all about that. It's not about always doom and gloom. It's about how you act, your character, your conduct, what you say. Okay? Are you basically being helpful in terms of trying to get other people to wake up to God's real truth, as opposed to staying asleep? You know, we read about those people in Josephus. They just wanted to just be, sleep. I forgot the word he used, but hey. It's the same with this walking around, they didn't want to open their eyes, even though they were seeing this stuff. They didn't want to believe it. He was warning them. They didn't want to believe it. And this is crazy. So this didn't say that there was a seventh trumpet being blown in Matthew 24. It had nothing to do with no seventh trumpet. And they were not angelic beings. These were the watchmen blowing the trumpet to warn the people that destruction was coming. Simple as that. As it's always been. Now we're going to go back to St. Matthew 24. And we're going to read verse 34. Then skip to 39, 37, and read to the 39. And let's further confirm that Matthew 24 it's been completely fulfilled. Go ahead. When you get to 34, read that.
Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass.
Who is he talking to?
His disciples.
He's not talking to us or beyond us people or slightly before us. No. Never was. Go ahead.
Till all these things be fulfilled.
They were going to see these things. These things are going to be fulfilled before their very eyes. Not us. It has nothing to do with us or beyond us. Go ahead.
But as the days of Noah
skip down to verse 37. We're going to read to the 39.
Okay. But as the days of Noah,
like in the days of Noah is what he's saying. Go ahead.
Were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Now, people, where did you ever read in the Bible that the Son of Man came in the days of Noah? When did you read that? Where did you read that at? Show it to me. That the Son of Man is Jesus, right? Jesus Christ. When did he come in the days of Noah? Continue reading this.
For as in the days that were before the flood,
we're talking about before. Go ahead.
They were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark.
So now we know what time we're talking about here. People, I don't remember reading anywhere where the Son of Man came in the clouds, because that's the way you got to come. You got to come up there, so he got to descend. So he's got to be in the clouds as well. I don't remember reading nothing like that. I don't know anywhere, any history book got that in it, that he came in the days of Noah, the Son of Man, Jesus Christ. Go ahead.
And knew not until the flood came and took them all away. so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be, just like the flood waters. So he came in the form of the flood waters, brother. Don't you pay attention to what you're reading here? That's the only way he could have came. Destruction, that's what we're talking about here. Tribulation, dark days. It came in the form of the destructive, also cleansing flood waters, because it cleansed the earth of all the sin. Mm-hmm. And sinners.
Wipe them out.
Wipe them completely out. But that's the way the Lord came. That way. And in 7 days he came in the form of the Roman army and Titus. Destroyed Jerusalem and his people. Carted them off into captivity. Tore the temple down. Completely destroyed it. And you're not paying attention to any of this. That's how he came in the days of Noah. By way of the destructive. Because he said he was coming in the clouds. Didn't rain come out of them clouds? Ain't that water? Mm-hmm. And that what flooded it? He opened the windows of heaven and rain fell. He opened the earth and waters came up. People, you're not paying attention to what you are reading at all. And that is not good. Anyway, we're going to continue this further. I want you to go to 1 Kings 18 and 21, because the Lord here had the prophet Elijah ask Israel this question, and I'm going to ask it to you. The same question, because it needs to be asked. It doesn't make any sense, some of the stuff that people have taught you and you haven't bothered to thoroughly look at it. Okay, now, like I said, read that one verse in 1 Kings 18, verse 21. Let me show you something here. This is a question that I'm asking you too. And it's a viable question that needs to be answered today. Go ahead.
And Elijah came unto all the people.
Elijah the Tishbite. Go ahead.
And said, how long halt ye between two opinions?
Man, that's a great question. How long are you going to listen to these people teaching you contrary to what Jesus has written in his word? That's two opinions, brothers and sisters. You got to pick the right one. You haven't done that so far. If you believe that Matthew 24 is future, you have not chosen the right opinion. And that's the opinion. And the Lord don't deal with that. The Lord deal with facts. You haven't chose his writings, his belief, his word. You chose the opinion of men. As simple as that. But he said, how long shall you have stand between
two opinions?
You got to choose one. Mm-hmm. And stick to it. But make sure it's the right one. Continue to read.
If the Lord be God.
And if he is God, you're going to choose his, aren't you? Go ahead.
Follow him.
Follow him.
But if Baal, then follow him.
If this is the devil, then you follow the devil. Go ahead.
And the people answered not a word.
And this is what you better think about. Because you're going to have to give the Lord some kind of answer. Okay? You're going to have to, because he's looking at what you're doing. And you don't have to do a lot of things for the Lord to know where your heart is, brothers and sisters. You don't have to speak out loud for the Lord to know what you believe in, because he's looking at your actions. And a lot of you people are not understanding the danger that you're in messing with this God. He don't play. He is a good God. He is a merciful God. All the things, it's amazing he hasn't just destroyed everything on this earth and started over again with the wickedness that's going on. But he's merciful. His grace. All of that. And you taking this stuff for granted. And you're forgetting you got to stand before him to give account to how you have lived your life in your lifetime. And you're not worried about the results of that. For those of you who understand, the ones who don't believe nothing, I'm not worried about them because they don't believe nothing no way. So it's not really something that you worry about. People who don't care, who don't believe, because the Lord said in the book, a fool, it's a fool that saith in his heart that there is no God. A fool. So I'm not worried about them. But I'm talking about the people who are trying to understand God's purpose, his word for them, and so forth. you got to be careful. You got to take this more serious than you have. Okay, let's go to the last place, and this is further evidence. This is something I asked that question because it needed to be asked. But this is Hebrews, and it's talking about Jesus coming in the clouds back in the days of Noah. No, he didn't. Literally coming in the clouds back in when Jerusalem was sacked in 70 AD. No, he didn't. Not literally. And this is going to verify that. Those things were symbolic of something else, brothers and sisters, and we showed you what it was. Back in the days of Noah, the destructive flood waters. Back in the days of 70 AD, the Romans, the Roman army, because they were the ones doing the destruction. And they came in Jesus' name, because he sent them. And they came with his power to do the job, and they got it done. Okay, same with the flood waters. Okay, but we're going to go to Hebrews 9 and read two verses. We're going to start at 24 and end at 26. Jesus Christ has not made his second coming, brothers and sisters, and this is going to verify that. Now start reading at the 24th verse. Hebrews 9, 24 to 26.
For Christ is not entered into the holy place made with hands.
Go ahead.
Which are the figures of the true. But into heaven itself.
Into heaven itself. Go ahead.
Now to appear in the presence of God for us.
Go ahead.
Nor yet that he should offer himself often.
He ain't gonna offer himself no more. We done did this one time. He ain't gonna do it no more. Go ahead.
As the high priest entereth into the holy place every year with blood of others.
Okay, what do you think he is now? Okay, he's our high priest. Go ahead.
For then must he often have suffered since the foundation of the world.
Go ahead.
But now,
go ahead.
Once in the end.
Whoa. In the end, go ahead.
Of the world hath he appeared to put away sin by the sacrifice of himself.
Are you telling me that the world ended? Are you telling me that was the end of the world when Jesus was crucified? The world ended? People, you don't understand what you be reading. This end of the world does not mean what you think it means. We're going to define that right quick, because this is the same word end used in Matthew 24 and 3 and Luke 21 and 9, and we're going to look in the Strongs and define this word and see what it means, because it said whoever endures until the end. Okay, not the end of the world, but to the end of the destruction. If you made it through the destruction, then you were okay. You survived. Okay, you were saved. The Lord spared you, is what they're saying to you. But let's look at this word, end, right here. We're going to go to 4930 in the Greek section. The word translated end. What's that word?
The word is substantiate.
Okay, and what does it mean?
From 4931, entire, complete.
Completion.
Completion. I.e. consummation.
Consummation, go ahead.
Of a dispensation. End.
Meaning end. You start something and you see it to its end. Okay? That don't mean that the world is over though.
Or the end of all time.
Of all time. I'm not talking about that. Okay? It said it came from 4931. Let's look at 4931 in the Greek section and just drop down one and define it again.
Okay, the word is substantiate.
Okay, and it means?
From 4862 and 5055. To complete entirely.
To complete entirely. Did not the Romans enter in Jerusalem and started the destruction of Jerusalem, and they did not stop until it was entirely finished or completed? Did not the Lord open the windows of heaven and the fountains of the deep, and the water came, and it did not stop rising until it covered the peak of the highest mountain and drowned everything that was wicked? This is what this is telling you. And once that wickedness was killed in the flood, the waters rescinded. And you had the earth. You had people coming out of our animals and whatnot. It wasn't the end of it was the end of the world of the wicked.
It was the end of that time.
As it was the end of the world of the wicked in 70 AD, because Israel was wicked. The Lord wasn't going to let them stay in his holy land and profess to be holy priests to him, and they were doing all this stuff. Like I said earlier, prostitution, all kind of homosexuality, serving idols, bestiality, all this stuff they were doing this. And that's just a little bit. So, the end of what they were doing came to an end. Okay, but finish this definition. It said complete entirely. Go ahead.
Generally to execute.
To execute, go ahead.
Literally or figuratively, end.
Execute
Finish,
the end of this destruction. Go ahead.
End, finish, fulfill, make.
Finish this destruction. And once it was finished, then life continued on. They continued on not as Israel, who were in the land and this, that, and the other. They were captives. They began a life of captives because that was their punishment. Slaves. Back to servitude again. It delivered you out of it, and you became so wicked and didn't take heed to his instructions that you wound up right back in the servitude. You became what you hated people were to you. They had racist people dealing with you. The Egyptians were racist. Okay, indifferent. They thought they were better, holier than Israel. And then you developed the same thing you hated them for doing, you became that. And to this day, you can see an semblance of that right now. People acting the way that the Egyptians act, as well as some of the white people and so forth, and even the Klan and all these people. Same, you can see it in black people. You can't, which you're not supposed to, because you understand this better than anybody. You've been through it. You're not supposed to have, hey, the Lord is going to deal with the wicked. We've shown you that. What happens to the wicked, those who reject the truth and who want to be wicked and go against the Lord's instructions. So we've shown you that he sends dark days. He sends the affliction through the attacking. He sends armies on nations that are wicked. And he sent all of this on Israel back in 70 AD, people. You know what I'm saying? And he destroyed them. Our forefathers were taken out of the land in chains. He sent tribulation. So that's what he does when you go against his truth. He sends great tribulation upon you. It don't mean that you're totally at an end unless you're that wicked. He just has to destroy you like he did the people in the flood.
In the flood, he
okay,
totally destroyed.
And he just totally destroyed the wicked back then, and he got rid of enough of Israel's wicked back then as well. But then they became what they became and developed other traits of wickedness and so forth. And now the Lord will be back. He's going to settle this once and for all. So I hope and I pray, Teresa as well, that you have gotten some idea and realize that St. Matthew 24 has not been something that you should keep going to and use as a reference. Exactly, as it's something coming in the future. It's not going to happen. That's a bus that's already passed. You can't go there as a reference for something future anymore. We've shown you that and could have shown you much more. But I didn't want to draw this out to no 3-4 hours. I've shown you enough for you to go back and start researching on your own. That's what my motive was for doing this, is to make you go back and do some more research, and you can find some of the things that we shown you in Josephus about those miraculous signs that the Lord said they would appear and give them time to flee.
Right.
And they didn't take heed to the wicked, that is. But the disciples did. They got out of there. They didn't wind up getting caught up in Jerusalem back in 70 AD. They fled because they believed the Lord and took heed to his signs. So until next time, Teresa and I appreciate you lending an ear to this class. Go over this class. Do some research on your own. And like I said, we hope that God be with you always. And you tune in next time for another lesson. But until then, may God be with you and bless you and your family. We'll see you next time. Draw me.